Okay, everyone. So very much welcome to today's webinar. I'm Fredrik. I'm one of the co-founders and the CRO at Omnitas. So today we're gonna have a bit of a talk about my 5 top picks for our CRM add-ons for Monday.com. So these are add-ons that we have built and constructed, which is implementable on top of Monday CRM. So without much further ado, let's get into it. So the agenda for today. So basically, I just want to have a quick talk about Monday CRM overall. Then we're going to go into my 5 top picks. And then I have a bit of a surprise. And then we'll round off if we have any questions that I need to answer. So a Q&A. Hope that's fine. So what I want to say about Monday CRM is that it's truly one of the more flexible CRM platforms out there as of today. So basically, it's not that off-the-shelf product, which we know, and sometimes they are very, very useful, but they just work in one particular way, basically decided upon by the developers of that software. And on the other hand, we have those highly customizable CRM systems, usually enterprise level, very high level enterprise level. So we're talking about those companies that have tens of thousands of employees and customers and all of that. And those softwares are usually extremely customizable, but also comes with a bit of a price tag to them. Monday actually has the capability to deliver on that customizability part without coming with the price tag of those systems. And that's what I love about Monday so much. It's not a system that basically dictates how I need to use it. I can dictate to the system how I want to use it and how I need to use it and really adapt it to me and my practice. That's the main part about Monday CRM. Although, of course, there is functionality that comes right out of the box. You can get started minute number 1 and just get going, but you can also redevelop it to really function for you, and that's the beauty of Monday. So, but that gets us into my first pick. These are in no special order. These are just my 5 top picks. And the first one is OmniCloud. So, when we have a file storage, a cloud storage somewhere else, for example, Google Drive, Dropbox, you name it, SharePoint for Microsoft, etc., and how we want to bring that in. Monday has integrations with those out of the bucket, but that means there needs to be some place to store those files within there, and it's a bit of manual labor to actually set it up. What we built is an add-on that basically, when you create a client or by whichever trigger you want, basically, we go in and create that folder for that client and name it correctly and everything in your cloud storage. It really helps to get people in line with this is how we do stuff, and also takes away all of that work. And one really nice standard about it is also, if we have templated documents or stuff like that, we can actually put them into that folder as well. So we can pre-prep those folders and we can have subfolders and everything. So we can basically decide how should something be opened up when we add a new client. Of course, if you're a bit creative, you can, of course, see that this can as well also be used for a project. So it's not CRM specific, but it's a very usable and very requested feature that we deliver on. And also, of course, it pops into your Monday board. So smack dab on your company card or on your project card or whatever, you have a direct link and get that in a pop-up or in a new tab, or how we basically set it up. So that's one of my favorites because it's really handy to have that, and it keeps everyone in line. So we always keep to the same kind of practice, and we don't spend a lot of time on creating folders, especially not in the wrong place. My next pick is our AutoCurrency or custom currency. So these are actually 2 different ones, but they kind of belong together. So how these functions is, or what they do is basically they help us to handle currency and currency conversions within Monday. So for example, I'm based out of Sweden. Omnitas is at its core a Swedish company, even though we have our UK subsidiary and our practices in Norway and Denmark as well. But at the end of the day, my tax authority wants me to report in Swedish crowns, and I make these in a lot of different currencies. So for example, I might do a deal about Monday, which is maybe in euros, and I'm a make partner. I probably do that in dollars or in pounds for that matter. And then I might sell some consultancy hours, which may be in Australian dollars or Swedish crowns or Danish crowns, whatever. So I can get a lot of different currencies within a single order or in a single opportunity. Of course, I need to harmonize these to be able to report on them, because obviously 10 Swedish crowns isn't the same as 10 British pounds. It's actually 12 Swedish crowns is 1 British pound. So we need to harmonize those. Otherwise, my deal values would just go all over the place. So they wouldn't tell me anything. So what our AutoCurrency does, it's basically a direct integration with the European Central Bank. So where we in real time fetch the exchange rates between currencies back to your choice of reporting currency at the end. Of course, this keeps on updating out through the deal lifecycle or the opportunity lifecycle. And then when you actually won or click one close or whatever you call it, when you come to the end of your sales process, it locks. So you know what it was when you actually close the deal. Really handy dandy especially for me as a sales director, to kind of get an overall of where do we stand, what does this mean in actual revenue for my company, etc. The off version of this is the custom currency, and this is for you that maybe you trade in warrants or options when it comes to currencies. So you have a fixed currency rate for a period of time. Then we use custom currency, so we don't have it real time, we actually have it set. Or if you want to harmonize it so you only fetch the currencies on a time interval, for example, then custom currency is your key. So you can see they really work similarly, but slight difference. So it's basically real time or set to an interval or to a specific currency rates. This is a must have for me. I couldn't live without it, and it's really, really good, and always keeps us up to date. So we actually know. So it's not like, oh yeah, a euro is 10 Swedish crowns. Yeah, but that's not true most of the days, is it now? So really, really good little add-on. Quick install, easy to use. Your team won't even notice it's there. Basically, they just need to tell what currency are they charging in, and also easy to update. So need to handle new currency, just type it in your Monday account. Bob's your uncle. The add-on will sort for it. So really, really good add-on. Then auto assigner. So we know as sales leads or practice leads, some of us tends to assign those incoming leads to our reps. This can be automated, and this is basically what auto assigner does. And it comes in a few different flavors. So we have different flavors on it of how it can work. So basically, we have the full-on randomization, which basically pick one of my sales reps out from a hat. Basically, it's randomized, so it's not on a round robin or anything. Then we have the round robin, where it basically goes 1, 2, 3, 4, start over 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. That's the round robin kind of setup. Then we also have it where it actually checks for capacity, and it can do this in two ways. So either if we have staff that is tightly connected to projects or where we time manage people, we can either do it by time, or we can actually do it also by the number of active leads someone has. So, or we can actually do it on targets even. So the ones who close more get more leads and so on and so forth, or the ones who don't have that many leads on their plate and therefore have more time to invest in those leads, they can have them first. So we can really choose. It's also, makes my life a lot easier. I don't need to deal with it. The automation does it, and it's lovely, and it works. And it's also fair game. Everyone knows the rules, and it's not by who I like the best this week and so on. It's the robots taking care of it. Really lovely add-on. The OmniEnricher. So basically, this is leverage AI to scrape business information. So in this first iteration of OmniEnricher, it doesn't scrape for personal information, but it does scrape for company information. So your EBITDAs, your revenues, your organizational numbers, their actual legal names, addresses, stuff like that. So basically how this works is that you have a small Chrome extension, which you basically go on to Crunchbase or Endole if you're in the UK, or Prof in the Nordics, Allabolag in Sweden, sites like that. And you basically have a Chrome extension. Press the button. What the enricher does is it basically checks for a couple of different values. So, for example, it can check for the organizational number or the name of the company, or a few factors. Does this company exist in my CRM system? If so, yes. Okay, let's enrich the data here. So update the information with revenues, EBITDAs, etc. And if not found, it can also create that company and enrich it. So really handy add-on that saves your sales staff a lot of time when they're doing their prospecting. Can't recommend it highly enough. Now I'm just going to switch back so I can see if we have any questions or so. So if you have any questions, please don't be afraid. You have a questions functionality to the right side of your screen. So when I'm on camera, I should do that. So I pointed the right direction, I guess. You can pop in your questions there. I will try to take them as we go, or wait until the end if I don't think we've actually answered them already. Okay, so back to the next add-on. So required fields. Yeah, Monday CRM doesn't have required fields out of the bucket. This is something that I do think, or no, is coming down the line. But so far, no, it hasn't. But of course, we sorted for that because it's an important CRM functionality. And it basically keeps your data in line. So no, you can't close a deal if I don't know which customer you tried to close it with. For example, just stupid example, but stuff like that happens. So required fields here basically checks for, are the fields filled in to be able to move forward. And the nice part about this is how we built it. It's basically, you have a board in Monday where you basically say which fields are required at what stage, and then our automation will check for that. So it's really easy to add and remove fields which are required or not. So really handy for any sales manager who wants to have better data in their system and be kind of up to par. So that's a great feature. I use it a lot. And then our surprise, and this is actually the Omnitas SoMe suite. And now you're thinking, wait, that's marketing. Yes, but also very much sales. So from a perspective of us getting leads and getting attraction, social media, maybe LinkedIn in particular, is a big thing. What we at Omnitas have done is built in AI into Monday to actually help us both ideate, so come up with ideas for what are we supposed to post about. How can we create that thought leadership on our Shoes and platform? It bases these ideations of your personal or your staff's personal profile. So it can post as one of your sales reps and then take into effect who they are. What do they do at your company? What's their specialities? What's their personal interest? We can also try to be personable. It then comes up with ideas of weekly schedules, basically. And you basically say, oh, those are great ideas. I want them. And then when you okay the ideas, it goes ahead and actually drafts those ideas for your staff. Can of course also be used for your company as a whole. So as we can see in the picture, it now says org or person, the green box, personal. Yeah, it's writing as a person, but that can also be shifted into writing as your company. The nice part is also we handle everything from within Monday. So everything in one place. You don't need to copy that and go to LinkedIn, example, and create that post. You actually do everything in Monday. You tell the system when should it be posted, and it will post it at that date and time. Easy enough. And then just for kicks, it can also retrieve the statistics from your posts. So really, really nice. And we see a lot of sales coming in from us being out there on social media and actually our reps being out there on social media. So can't recommend this highly enough. And I think AI it's not one of those things that's going to go away. So let's just embrace it. And also, as I got from one of my marketing managers, it's actually really, really nice to have it in one place, because that means that my marketing department can actually see what our sales reps are posting and also help them out, and also to keep them in line with the overall ideas or communications of our company. So really, really good solution. And that basically brings me into our questions and answers. So this is a quick little webinar. So all of you that's in here, I can see I'm going through the questions right now, and we don't have that many questions, and I actually think we have answered most of them. Okay, so here's a question. And that is about who or what technologies do we rely on when it comes to our SOMI suite. Well, that is built on OpenAI's API, so basically ChatGPT. But of course, we're not using ChatGPT, we're using the APIs in behind. So that's what we're using, and we're using Make to leverage that to effect within your Monday. And I can tell you, many of these add-ons are supported by the use of Make. So that's a big motor for us that we use in the background to make all of this happen. Okay, guys, do we have any more questions? Just waiting a bit. Okay, so here's another question. On the required fields module, can I set it up so that certain fields are required in certain stages and then it scales? Yes, you can. So we can say that before you do anything, for example, you need to choose which company this adheres to, and maybe later on we have different columns that comes into effect. Yes, that can be done with that add-on. So we can tailor it to be dependent on which phase you're trying to move into, basically. Here's another question on the required fields. So can it give a system message telling the user which fields they need to fill in? Yes, it can. So in Monday through the API, we can't really create a system message, so like the top bar. But how we do it is we create it as an update. So it's marked on the item itself, and we can tell it specifically also not only you're missing one of these, but you're actually missing this one or these ones. So we can help the user to guide them to fill that information in. And I can also add to that, we can actually also specify lengths. So for example, if you have a text field that needs to be filled in, or a paragraph section, or a long text in Monday speech, We can also actually put it to a size requirement. So you're not getting off scot-free by just pressing X and then you have filled it out. We can actually say, no, it needs to be at least 50 characters or whatever. And we can actually put that too. Anything more, guys? Okay, so then with that, I bid you all a really, really good rest of the day, night, or evening, or morning, depending on where in the world you are. I can see we have people from all over the place. So best of luck, everyone, and have a great day. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.